Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. I'm Brian, Mr. Smith. If you're new to the channel, excuse me, I got something in my throat. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Glad you found me. If you're back for more, you're a glutton for punishment, but I'm glad you're here all the same. Quick review of what we do on our channel. Tuesdays, most Tuesdays, we sit at the kitchen table and talk about events, new, old, past, social issues, things like that. Wednesdays, we normally cook dinner. Thursdays, we try to bake something. Now, that's always subject to change. We are a family of, well, we're actually a family of 6, but there's 4 of us here, and there's always something going on. So, you know, you'll get a variety of things. We'll look at gardening, canning, we do some woodworking, some fish stuff. I am big into fish. If you look back at my first few videos from our old house, that was when we had our fish room. But anyhow, that being said, today we're going to do an orange bundt cake. And this bundt cake is inspired by a friend of mine, Marina, who, if you watched yesterday's video, I talked a little bit about also. This was, as you know from yesterday's video, the week that, it was a year ago this week, she passed away, you know, and so we're kind of doing things that I think Marina would have liked to eat and for dessert. She had, one of the last things that she made for me to try was a orange lemon pound cake that was out of this world, and I have the recipe for it in one of my old phones. And hopefully someday I'll find it and get to remake it. If not, that's okay. It's an orange lemon pound cake is what it is. And this is a orange with a hint of lemon bundt cake. Same principle, just in bundt form, not in pound cake form. So that being said, before I forget, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That would be awesome if you did. And you can turn on the notification bells if you like. Like I said, I put out 3 videos a week, or at least try. This week we only got 2 on Tuesdays. Are kind of hit and miss lately because of work schedules. Working in the restaurant industry, being understaffed, kind of, you know, makes things go a little weird. But anyhow, you know, 3 videos that you can catch of my shenanigans and things that you might want to see or do. So, that being said, orange bundt cake, super simple. This recipe really is easy, and as I tear up my recipe for something else, as everything I do when I start a new recipe, because we do a lot of new recipes, we like to try recipes here. That's mostly what we do on Wednesdays and Thursdays, is try recipes. We try them together. I put it on in a folder, or in a notepad, right? I write it down, then if we like it, if I think it tastes good, you could probably even do the same thing. I'll transfer it to a index card and put it in the recipe box. So, for this, let's start with tools. Tools you will need. I really can't believe there was something sticky on my counter. Tools you will need for your bundt cake. It's really simple. The most obvious thing is a bundt pan. Now, you know, what's a bundt pan? This is a bundt pan. All right, it's got the little hole in the middle. A lot of people use these for angel food cake. You can buy them in a variety of things. This one is actually brand new. Never been used. It is a non-stick pan. It's decorative. If you go back and look at my blueberry bundt cake, you'll see my other bundt pan, which has got a bottom in it that releases out, makes it really easy. If you're new to bundt cakes, I highly recommend using one of those in the beginning. You'll have greater success. That's the one I used as a standard until I bought this one. But I wanted something fancy. I thought it would be kind of cool to try. The other thing you will need, things you will need. A bowl, a large bowl. Any large bowl will do. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, steel. It can be whatever large bowl, you know, maybe your favorite cereal bowl, whatever. But you'll need a large bowl, a whisk. We will need a spatula, a rubber spatula or something close to that, rubber spatula. I love this rubber spatula. We've had it for years. It's a Christmas spatula, but it's one of my favorites. And then the last thing you will need, minimum, is a mixer. It's a nice hand mixer. You could do this with a whisk, but the hand mixer I think would work best. You could also use a stand mixer. standard like a KitchenAid, if you have one. Those are kind of pricey. Not everybody can afford one. But a hand mixer, electric mixer, they're inexpensive. I mean, realistically, you can buy a decent one that would last you years for about $35-40. I think that one's only cost us like $40. All right, so now our list of ingredients. The ingredients are really simple. This cake is designed for the modern times. It calls for 1 box yellow cake. Okay, so now if you want to make your own yellow cake, you can. I am using a box yellow cake because I want to follow the recipe, and it calls for a 15 and a quarter ounce yellow box cake. My yellow cake mix makes a lot more than 15 ounces. Plus, I want to try it like the recipe follows. The second thing you will need in the recipe is 1 3-ounce container of vanilla pudding. Doesn't necessarily have to be Jell-O vanilla pudding. It can be whoever's vanilla pudding that you like. I mean, whatever is for you. You're making this for you and your family. Just like I'm making it for mine. The other thing you will need for this cake, a 3/4 of a cup of orange juice. Hence the orange cake. Followed by a 1/2 cup of oil. Now, it calls for vegetable oil. I recommend using vegetable oil or even a canola oil. You don't want to use an olive oil or a corn oil or a peanut oil. Not that they wouldn't work, but they're flavored. You'll get that olive taste, you'll get that peanut taste, that corn taste, and you don't necessarily want that in a cake that's supposed to taste like oranges. The last couple things you will need: 4 eggs. I got my 4 eggs right there. I already beat them up, whisked them up real quick. Your eggs you want at room temperature. The reason why you want those at room temperature, so let them sit out for about a 1/2 hour, is it makes it easier to mix them and to beat them. That way you don't overbeat your cake. Like I said, I mixed mine up already. And the very last ingredient you need, you can't see it because it's clear, is a teaspoon of lemon extract, which, honest to goodness, it looks like my lemon extract disappeared. And I know I put it in there. That's really weird. Hold on a second. Let me get my lemon extract out. I got something funny to show you also. Okay, so lemon extract. On the box of this lemon extract, it says it's a 2-ounce container, which it is. 2 full ounces. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 2 full ounces. But they let you know on this box, right here at the top, that it is 2 times more than a 1-ounce container. I found a lot of humor in that. I don't know why, but I found a lot of humor in that. So, you will need 1 teaspoon of lemon extract. And I really don't have a clue as to where my lemon extract went to, because there are no cracks in this dish. And yet, I put a teaspoon of it in there. Anyhow, that being said, let me get the camera moved down and we will start putting this cake together. Now, the first thing you want to do, reminded me, see that oven right there? Turn it on 350 degrees. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that bad boy preheating while we are putting our cake together, because that's what we do. Sorry about the camera movements there, but we're there. All right, so we got our bowl, and you know what? I lied. We don't need the whisk. Well, you will need it to whisk your eggs. Nothing more. Definitely need a spatula. So the first thing we're going to do, oh no, we'll need the whisk. I lied. Again, is we're going to dump our cake mix in there. Now, cake mixes don't come open. They come in a bag, as you can see. But I cut the top off already. That way we can just pour it in there. Neatness counts. And then we're going to take our vanilla pudding mix. Now, the original recipe did call for lemon pudding. I have lemon pudding, but after reading some of the reviews on this, they said that it made the cake so lemony it didn't taste very orangish. And a lot of people recommended vanilla, so we're going to put the vanilla in there instead. You can try it with the lemon. It might taste fantastic. But I would rather have an orange cake that tastes like oranges, not lemons. Then we're going to take our whisk, and we're just going to mix that up. Okay? So we get this mixed up real good. The next thing we want to do is make a well in the center of this. You're asking, what's a well? I'll show you. Let me move the camera down a little bit so you can see a little better. There we go. you're going to literally make a hole in the center, push your ingredients, your dry ingredients to the side. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is bring the camera back to where you can kind of see what I'm doing. All right. In case you didn't notice, I am my own cameraman. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to pour the orange juice in the center. We're basically going to put all these wet ingredients in the center. Put our eggs in there. This is why I pre-beat them to help the process along. And you may have noticed I had dishwater all ready to go. That way I can just set my dishes right in there. We're going to put the oil in there. And then we're going to take a teaspoon, since my lemon extract kind of disappeared. Now, I can see putting a little bit of lemon in this because you want something to help balance all the sweetness of the cake mix and things like that. But I wouldn't put any more than a teaspoon in there. That way it helps balance it, not overpower it. All right, so we got those ingredients in there. This is going quick because all we got left to do is literally mix it, put it in the pan. All right, so we're gonna put this in there now. You want to start off on low, okay? You're gonna first thing you gotta do is plug it in. I forgot my own rule. So here's the rule: and this is a good rule, good practice I have that I think everybody should do. Wait till the very last minute to plug in your equipment, especially if you have kids in the house. They like to come around and turn things on you. That could hurt them or make a mess. So plugged in, we're gonna turn it on low and just get these incorporated. You're nuts. All right, so we're gonna mix that on low for just 1 minute. Then we're gonna stop for a second. We're gonna clean our sides. Abby is currently getting some ice cream for her mid-afternoon snack. That is what the conversation you were hearing in the background is. All right, we wiped their sides down. Now, the next thing we got to do is we're going to beat this on medium for about 4 minutes, is what the directions said. 4 minutes, we're to beat this on medium. Then all I have to do is put it in the pan. So I'm going to go ahead and beat this on medium, which in my blender's case, or my mixer's case, is number 3. And when I come back, we'll put this in the bunt pan and stick her in the oven. All right, I'll see you here in 1 second. Okay, so we got everything mixed up for 4 minutes. There is what our batter looks like. It is a thick batter. I'm not gonna lie, it's thick. I am going to be under the impression, although because they didn't say in the directions why you beat it for 4 minutes or get it all over the side of your bowl, is because you're trying to get some air in it. That way the cake isn't just like a dense ball sitting there in the pan. Sorry, I had to try the cake mix. I don't recommend doing that, by the way, because, ooh, that's got a wonderful orange flavor. Because it has raw eggs in it. Raw eggs can contain salmonella and can make you sick. So I cannot tell you to try the batter when you make it, but at the same time, if your finger happens to slip in it, you happen to try it, I think you'll enjoy it. So we're going to put this evenly into the bunt pan. You don't want to dump it all on one side because then you have to sit there and try to work it hard, or work it around, and that can be kind of a pain in the butt. So we'll get this in there. Set that off to the side. Get a knife. Now, you notice, and I may have mentioned this a minute ago, but with this pan, I did not spray it. If you don't have a non-stick pan, I would highly recommend you either spray it with a non-stick cooking spray, like a Pam or whatever, or whatever brand it is you use, or warm up some butter and put it on there with a baster or a brush, or you can use margarine. Okay, which would be the not real butter, like a country crock, or I can't believe it's not butter, something like that. All right, and that is literally our cake. I told you it wouldn't take but a minute. I think I spent more time talking in the beginning than I actually did putting this cake together. So there's our cake in our bunt pan. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to put it in the oven, but let's talk about our ovens for a minute. Let me get this in the oven. We're going to put this in the oven, and our bake time is going to be 50 to 60 minutes. That's 50 to 60 minutes. Start checking it at about 45 minutes. And here, I'll tell you why here in just 1 second. Let me get this in the oven. And we'll set our timer. I'm going to go with 50 minutes because I know my oven well enough to know that it usually cooks on the faster end of baking times. So I got my oven set for 50 minutes. Now, the reason why they say 50 to 60 minutes is because no oven cooks the same. We preheated it to 350 degrees. But unless you have a hanging thermometer in your oven, which I hope you do, because they're only at $4 or $5, and it'll tell you if your oven's off and how far it's off. But no oven really cooks the same or bakes the same. That's just fact of life. So my 350 may not be your 350, which may not be your neighbor's 350. Even if they were all built on the same assembly line right behind each other. So you want to start checking it at about 45 minutes. And halfway through your baking time, so at 25 minutes on my oven, I'm going to take my pan and I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Okay, so the front, what was the front, will now be the back. And that just ensures that you get an even bake all the way around. A lot of ovens have hot spots in them, and what a hot spot is that it'll have one area that gets a little warmer a little quicker than, say, another area. So, and I know in my oven, the back right-hand corner gets a little warmer, has a warm spot there. So a lot of my dishes, if I'm not paying attention, will get a little more brown or done on that corner of the dish I'm making versus the other corner. So I will rotate mine halfway through. That way it bakes evenly on both sides and we have a nice coloration. So that's something to look for when you bake something in your oven. You may have hot spots. You may have noticed it if you've ever made a casserole or made French fries. Make French fries in the oven, and like half of them are dark and the other half are not dark. That's why. So we're going to cook it. We don't cook cakes, we bake them. We're going to bake this for 50, 60 minutes, and when I come back, we'll see what we got going on. All right, I'll see you here in just 1 second. All right, bye. All right, so I ended up letting it bake for 45 minutes. This is why you start checking early, because even though it said 50 to 60 minutes, and this is a new cake recipe, it only took 45. So now we got the moment of truth about to happen. We're about to take it out of the pan. So you're going to need a wire rack, preferably. Let's talk about the wire rack for a moment. Is in its simplicity, it's just a wire rack. But what it does is, especially for baking, like cookies, things like that, is it allows airflow all the way around it so it cools evenly and cools a little quicker. Now, what I did after I took it out of the oven, I let it sit here per the instructions for 10 minutes before we tried taking it out of the pan. Now, there are a couple of things to consider here. If you see on the pan, see how that is domed? We can do a couple different things with it. We could take a knife and cut it even around here. And in a lot of cases, this is kind of a heavy cake. It's a dense cake. So when we flip it over onto the plate, it may it might flatten it. It might just flatten itself out enough that we don't mind. Now, I personally don't care if it's domed either way on this side because it's for me and my family. You know, it's not going out for a contest. I'm not a professional baker. I'm making this for us to eat, and I'm okay with that. I mean, even the dome itself is nice. Now, I am sure there are ways we could have maybe baked this at a little lower temperature, a little longer, and it wouldn't have rose as quick and domed like that. But either way it goes, it's okay. You know, if yours turns out like this, it's okay. You know, it's not a big deal. You know, so what we're going to do is we're going to stick this pan on here, or pan. We're going to take this plate and we're going to stick it on here. This is how I do mine. Now, if you have another wire rack, you can stick it on top of there, which I do, but I'm not going to dig out another big wire rack for this. And I'm going to flip it over onto the rack like that. Boom. And then we're just going to shimmy and shake. You know, now if we were using my other pan, we could literally just lift the edges off of it, the side off of it, and it would still have the bottom right here. And then we can just pull the bottom off separately. This one doesn't do that. So we'll tap it around a little bit, and we'll give it a shake, and we'll feel it pop just like it did. And there we are. We have our bunt cake. That is actually really pretty. You know, and I actually kind of like that domed bottom. I think that looks really cool. If, like I said, if you don't like it, we can fix it. All you would want to do, all right, I'll tell you what we would do. We would take it. I'll demonstrate with a paper plate because I don't feel like digging out and dirtying another plate. You would simply take a second plate, put it back on there, invert it like such, and cut that even. You know, but why? That's just kind of a waste of cake when we got this. So now, what are we going to do next? Well, the very next thing we're going to do is let this cool for about another 10 minutes. And then when I come back, we're going to make a glaze, an orange glaze, that's only got 3 ingredients. We're going to make an orange glaze in a pan, and we're going to drizzle it on top of this. Well, I'm literally going to pour it on top, but you could drizzle it also. That's nothing more than some orange juice, sugar, and butter. But when I come back, I'll give you the amounts of orange juice, sugar, and butter you'll need, and we'll make our glaze. All right? I'll see you here in 1 millisecond. Okay, so we let it cool. Bunt cake's over here. It's nice and cool now. Well, not nice. It's completely cool. It's still slightly warm. But that's all right. So now we're going to make the glaze that goes on top of it. But first, remember earlier I said bunt pan that the bottom comes out, which is actually the top. This is what I was talking about if you've never seen one before. It's not fancy, it's not decorative, but it does get the job done. I've used it for several cakes. But see how the center comes out? So that way when you flip it over, you can take this part out and then this piece out. You don't have to worry about it sticking in your pan that way. I mean, now, the one downside to this pan is it isn't decorative. It's just a basic bunt pan. But it does get the job done, and this is a workhorse of a pan. So I wanted to show you that real quick, so that way you know. That's kind of what you want to start out looking for. All right, so we're going to make the glaze for this real quick. So let me go ahead and get this fired up. Oh, let me do it right. There we go. Turn it down. All right, we've been testing this out lately to try to not use our electric oven so much. It does cook a little quicker, so I got it set on a nice low heat because it's gas and it cooks quick. Things we're going to need for this: 1/4 tablespoon of butter, and you want it at room temperature, you know, and you want to try not to use your fingers. You want a 1/2 cup of orange juice. Now, 1/4 cup of butter is the equivalent of a 1/2 stick, so or 57 grams. And then the last ingredient you need, so we've got a 1/2 cup of orange juice, 57 grams of butter, or a quarter cup, or a 1/2 stick. We're going to need a 2/3 cup of sugar, which is 134 grams. So grams are important. You want to weigh stuff out. And we're going to cook this down for a couple minutes. Basically, we're wanting to melt the butter and dissolve the sugar. So, and it shouldn't take more than a couple minutes to do. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this melted down, and when we come back, we will put this over the cake. All right. All right, we're down to the final steps. We got our glaze made. So right here's our glaze: orange juice, sugar, and butter. And all we're going to do is we're going to drizzle this on here. All right, which means we're just going to put it on just like this. And I got this goofy feeling that a lot of it is going to soak in underneath. So if you remember on our cake, we had some cracks in the bottom of it. So, which is okay. That's not a bad thing. Yeah, we're just going to pour this over it. I can tell you from looking at the recipe, which I got this recipe, in case you're interested and don't want to follow my directions. The original recipe came from All Recipes, which is they're an online publication. I actually use them quite a bit for different dinner ideas and some baking ideas. And you can find them online, or you can find them if you go online and look. They also have an actual magazine. Now I got some down there in the bottom. It puddled on me in the middle. Yeah, so it just lifted up, let it get underneath there. So I'm gonna let that sit for just a couple minutes and kind of let it collect its thoughts, mingle with it a little bit, and let the glaze cool. And then when I come back, we'll try it, see how it tastes. I think it's gonna taste fantastic. All right, I'll be back in just 1 millisecond. All right, so we're back. It's cooled. Yeah, it's still a touch warm, but so here's what we did. We took the remaining juice, or the remaining glaze, and I see a spot that we missed, and I stuck it in the fridge. What did that do? So the first round we put on there, it worked. That was what the instructions said to do, was take it off the heat and put it right on there. And I think that works okay to let it soak in. All right, we let it sit there for a few and let it soak in. But then I don't know if you noticed, but I still had glaze left in my pot. I put it in the fridge, and that butter started to solidify back up. Get hard again, and it made a thicker glaze. So I put that on there, and now it's got a nice shine to it. That shine will stay forever, and it gives you more substance to your glaze. So I went ahead and did that. I got it on there. Now it's got a nice shine to it. So now we're down to just cutting a piece and seeing how it tastes. So let me get over here, get some of the fine china out. Fine china. And we'll cut a piece. We'll see how it tastes and look at how it turned out. So far, I think we're batting 1,000. The cake came out of the mold. It looks beautiful. It's got a nice glaze. So now we will just see how she tastes. Hopefully we did this recipe justice. Cut this piece out. Throw her on there. Oh, that looks gorgeous. It's got a nice yellow cake look to it, but I can already tell you by tasting the batter, it definitely has an orange taste to it. Here's how we look like on the inside of the cake. I think it looks gorgeous. I think this is going to be an absolutely amazing cake, and I am incredibly excited to try it. I think I would have done my friend Marina very proud of this one. She was quite the baker. For being young, there wasn't anything she couldn't bake. But we're going to try it. We'll find a piece here or a side that's got the glaze on it so we get the full effect. Get the top. Here's what we're trying. Looking good. That is a moist cake. That glaze tastes, well, it tastes very orangey. The cake tastes very orangey. I like it. I think the recommendation with the vanilla pudding instead of the lemon made it that more a success. Pudding in general usually has a strong flavor, so I think if we would have used the lemon pudding, it would have really accented that lemon, and that wasn't what we were going for. We were going for an orange cake. This, my friends, is a winner. It is definitely one in the recipe book. So far, my luck with finding good recipes. Sorry, I gotta have one more full piece. My luck with finding recipes has been really good. And I hope that stays. That cake is definitely moist. It is delicious. It has got a really rich orange flavor to it. I think some recommendations for it would be pick an orange juice you like. I mean, you know as well as I do, not all orange juices taste the same. You know, some brands taste a little more orangey. You could even go with one. I used one that was pulp free. You could even use a pulp in that. One with pulp. I think that would be very good. But anyhow, try this recipe. It'll knock your socks off, and people will be like, "Oh my gosh, you are an amazing baker. This cake is wonderful." That's a really good recipe. So try that. And if you do try it, tell me what you think. And leave me a message down below. You know, if you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, you're like, "Brian, this thing sucks. Don't ever bake this again for us." And hey, let me know. You know, hands down. But I really think you'll enjoy this recipe. All right. That being said, I think I'm going to cut Chris a slice of cake, and we're going to enjoy some orange bunt cake. All right. I love you. I love you very much. You know, tell somebody else you love them and love them very much. It'll make their day a whole lot better, and I think people in the world really need to hear that right now. The world's become a crazy place. So, that being said, I will see you next week for some more fun and adventures, and we'll find something interesting to talk about on Tuesday, I hope. Wednesday, we'll cook some dinner. I have all kinds of dinner ideas. I got a whole email listing full of them. And we'll make maybe a cake, a pie, I don't know. We may even just do some cookies next week. All right, until then, you know, you guys stay safe, take care. The pandemic still isn't over. Don't forget that. And if you haven't gotten your vaccine yet, go get it. You know, if nothing else, you're saving somebody else's life by doing it. All right, I will talk to you later. Have a great week. Bye.